Hello, my name is Omar Johnson, real estate investor, coach, and author. And welcome to the presentation entitled Motivated Buyers and Motivated Sellers Will Make You Rich in Real Estate. In order for you to succeed as a real estate investor, you must understand the following equation. Motivated sellers plus motivated buyers equals money in the bank for you. I'm going to say that again. Motivated sellers plus motivated buyers equals money in the bank for you. In fact, the combination of motivated sellers and motivated buyers can actually make you filthy stinking rich from real estate. Let me explain further. Once you are able to find a motivated seller and come to an agreement with that seller to creatively purchase their house, you need a motivated buyer to either cash you out and take the property off your hands or at least make some type of monthly payment to you that will enable you to create a positive monthly cash flow from that property. Wouldn't you agree? In fact, it would even make perfect sense for you to have your pre-screened list of buyers already in the can before you start acquiring inventory. That way, you significantly increase your chances of selling that property or profiting from it immediately. The bottom line is, quickly turning properties for fast profits is the name of the game and should be your immediate goal and focus as a real estate entrepreneur. Because if you are not able to generate cash flow quickly and continuously, your real estate investing career will be over before it even starts. Sounds a little brutal to you? Oh well, that's life. I'm just trying to keep it real with you. You have to eat, don't you? Well, it takes cash flow to do that, doesn't it? And I'm not talking about the type of cash flow that will only enable you to eat burgers and fries from the dollar menu at McDonald's. I'm talking about filet mignon type of cash flow. I want you to eat well and live well and have the financial freedom to do as you please. The way that you would obtain that much desired financial freedom through your real estate business is by mastering that equation that I previously mentioned to you. Motivated sellers plus motivated buyers equals money in the bank for you. Let's look at that first part of the equation. Motivated sellers. What is the definition of a motivated seller? A motivated seller is someone that needs to sell. You won half of the battle when you understand that there's a big distinction between someone wanting to sell a property versus someone that needs to sell a property. One is a suspect, the other is a prospect. Someone who just wants to sell a property is usually expecting a buyer to pay retail prices, and if they get it, fine. And if they don't, it's no big deal. Now, a motivated seller, on the other hand, has to get rid of that property by any means necessary. They are looking for a solution to their immediate problem, which is the house that they need to get rid of. And if you, the real estate investor, comes up with a workable solution, their house becomes yours at a bargain price. What are some of the circumstances that make owners of real estate motivated sellers? Job relocation. Millions of families travel to new cities and towns when companies shuffle their employees between different locations. This makes selling real estate a top priority for the moving family. Job termination. Although no one likes to think about it, millions of people lose their job, which puts their finances at risk and can often lead to selling real estate to move to a more economical alternative. Death in the family. Real estate may be given to one or several family members by a relative who has passed away. If the family already owns real estate, then one of the two properties is often sold. Bankruptcy. When someone is completely down on their luck, often the money invested in their real estate is the only money that they have access to, so they must sell quickly. Retirement. Older individuals who have used rental properties as a source of income may find it too demanding as they get older and sell their real estate to put the money into savings. Maintenance woes. After acquiring several properties and buildings in different areas, such as a home in the city, a rental property, and a cottage, some people may decide it is too much work to maintain them all and want to sell one of them. Divorce. People sometimes split up, which changes the economic dynamics of their situation. Instead of there being two people sharing a mortgage, you now have, in most cases, one sole person paying the entire mortgage. This creates a financial strain on them and puts the real estate investor in the perfect situation to present the perfect solution called debt relief. Making a payment on two or more houses. Sometimes people face the dilemma of making mortgage payments on two or more houses. For example, maybe they got transferred to a job in another state and had to purchase a house in that state and was unable to sell their original house in a timely fashion. The bottom line is you must have a marketing system in place that runs on autopilot that will enable you to find and attract an avalanche of motivated sellers and deliver them to you like a doctor delivers babies. So why do you need a marketing system in place that will have your phone ringing off the hook with motivated sellers? The answer is because motivated sellers are the source for generating profits for your real estate business. Motivated sellers, as a result of the aforementioned circumstances, will allow you to buy their houses creatively with very little money and no credit, simply because they need a non-conventional solution to their real estate woes. When you offer that non-conventional solution to them, their house becomes yours once again at a bargain price, which then puts you in the perfect position to realize profits once you have that motivated buyer in place to cash you out. So do you clearly understand why you must have a marketing system in place to find and attract motivated sellers? For the sake of your real estate investor career, I hope you've answered that question with a resounding yes. Just think about it for a second. All great businesses run themselves automatically by using a system. Your real estate business shouldn't be any different if you plan to be truly great and rich at what you do. For example, just look at McDonald's. They have an ultra successful franchise system that serves billions of burgers and fries to people. Ray Kroc, founder of the McDonald's franchise system, basically took what the McDonald brothers were already doing successfully, selling burgers and fast food, and duplicated their system to build an astounding worldwide conglomerate. What was that system? Kroc called it the McDonald's method, which was basically a system that explained to the franchisees such things like how much meat to include in a burger, how to cut the fries, and how often to clean the restaurant. In fact, McDonald's system is so fine-tuned today that basically high school kids run it. Similarly, you should have a fine-tuned lead generating system in place in your real estate business that runs on autopilot 24/7 that will produce motivated seller leads for you. Once you have your bona fide lead generating system in place and you begin to market your real estate solutions to sellers, you will start receiving calls. It's that simple. But before you start receiving those calls from your potential seller prospects, shouldn't you know exactly what to say to pre-screen them and eventually close the deal? Your success as a real estate investor hinges on your ability to effectively communicate with motivated sellers. When you know exactly what to say to the motivated sellers that you encounter, you will close deals and make a ton of cash. On the other hand, if you nervously fumble and stutter because you're at loss for words, you will never close any deals and your real estate career will be toast. The drawbacks of talking to sellers without knowing what to say, especially when you are still at the beginning of your learning curve, are many-fold. It is all around bad for your business and bad for your morale. If you don't know the most important things to say when you are on the phone with sellers to get the results that you want, you will waste a lot of time and good deals. Have you ever tried to talk to sellers and had any of these types of problems? The seller makes an objection that you don't have a satisfactory response to. The seller asks you a question that you can't answer. You don't know what questions you should be asking in order to get the information you need. You don't know what type of offer to make after the seller has explained their situation, so you have to get off the phone without making an offer, promising to call back later. You are having a hard time persuading sellers to accept your offers. These types of problems alone will make things difficult for you in your real estate business, but they will also harm your morale, making it so that talking to sellers comes to be an activity that you fear and dread, which is a dead-end street for sure. Without a doubt, if you are not able to develop the ability to talk to sellers comfortably and naturally with a minimum of anxiety and stress and with maximum skill and effectiveness, success with real estate is not likely to be in your future. Would you go to a job interview unprepared? Would you give a public speech off the top of your head? Would you run a marathon without practicing? Just as silly as all of these things would be to talk to sellers without knowing what to say. Having a pre-written script memorized before talking to sellers will not only allow you to sound like you know what you're talking about, even if you don't at first, it will explode the effectiveness of your negotiations by eliminating the aforementioned problems, as well as by giving you the confidence that comes with knowing what you are going to say rather than having to invent it as you go along. This is not to say that you wouldn't eventually become skillful at talking to sellers through trial and error alone, assuming you had enough chances to practice, plenty of patience, and all the time in the world to make it work. But having the benefit of a comprehensive collection of pre-written scripts dealing with any seller in any type of situation can drastically shorten your learning curve and therefore increase your effectiveness in a much shorter period of time than if you had to reinvent the wheel. Remember that even the president speaks from scripts, but don't let this stop you from doing it. The truth is that we all have our own scripts that we use unconsciously in any situation. If you make 30 phone calls to 30 sellers, you will inevitably find yourself repeating the same thing over and over and over again. The question is, are the scripts that you already have to talking to sellers the most effective ones you could be using? Most likely, they are not, unless they have been polished through education and experience. And the most benefit comes from actually memorizing a script, knowing it like you know the words to your favorite song or the Pledge of Allegiance. Studies have shown that memorizing a script, perhaps changing the wording here and there so that you feel more comfortable with it, but keeping the main points intact, is more effective than simply having an outline or a broad idea of what you want to be saying. So, even if you have experience talking to sellers, you will still benefit from having the exact words and phrases you need on the tip of your tongue and ready to be used at a moment's notice whenever they are called for. The value of knowing the right thing to say to the right type of seller at the right time cannot be underestimated. It is the quality of what you say to sellers, as well as how you say it, that determines whether your business will go from 0 to 60 in record time or whether it will stall by the side of the highway, leaving you stuck without a ride. A comprehensive system of scripts that tells you exactly what to say and how to say it when talking to sellers can cut years off your learning curve and add volume to your bottom line. Now, let's look at the second part of the equation: motivated buyers. The second part of the equation, which deals with finding and acquiring motivated buyers, can actually make you filthy stinking rich. Here's why. It's quite simple. Motivated buyers bring cash to the table. Therefore, the number one asset in your real estate business are your buyers. So it is imperative that you know how to grow and create a killer buyers list and understand that your list should be tended to like a tree that sprouts money for leaves. Here are some of the main reasons why you must have a killer buyers list in your arsenal. Selling properties are much easier when you have a list of active buyers ready to purchase your deals. A buyers list allows you to segregate your retail buyers from your wholesale buyers and your renters from your landlords. This is very important because when you add a property to your inventory, you will know exactly what segment of your list to call to market that particular property. A buyer's list will help you to determine where the greatest demand is in your town or city. This will allow you to focus your marketing dollars to locate motivated sellers in those specific areas. Having a killer buyers list will also enable you to maintain a continuous positive cash flow as long as you have properties in your inventory that are in demand. Having a well-stocked buyers list gives you a wider choice and enables you to pick and choose the best candidates for your properties. As you satisfy your customers from your buyers list, word will spread and you will establish a solid presence and reputation in the marketplace that will result in you growing your list by leaps and bounds. Shockingly, most aspiring real estate entrepreneurs don't have the slightest clue on how to create and grow a buyers list for their real estate business. And as a result, they suffer. Most of them are taught by real estate gurus to find the property first, then run an ad in the newspaper to find buyers. The problem with this approach is you better be able to find a buyer immediately, or else you will be stuck with paying the holding costs of the property, like utilities, the mortgage, taxes, insurance, etc., until you find your actual buyer. I'm not too fond of this approach, and neither should you be, because you are solely relying on luck and the timing of others. You are hoping that a buyer responds to your ad immediately, or you will be facing a very unpleasant situation. To ensure a quick sale, wouldn't it be much better for you to find your buyers first and then ask them what kind of properties they are looking for, rather than finding a property first, then looking for a buyer? The latter approach is loaded with too much uncertainty. In fact, a lot of new investors I come across are full with the fear of the possibility of not selling a property that they have purchased creatively using such real estate investing strategies such as wholesaling, retailing, short sales, subject to, lease option and options, because they are afraid that they will be stuck with the property and would have to pay those aforementioned holding costs. Unfortunately, these types of investors have put up psychological barriers based on those fears, and they eventually and predictably pull back from aggressively pursuing properties. To be quite frank with you, I can understand their fears, because they are basing it on the actual fact of no matter how good of a deal you get on a property you plan to sell, a long holding selling period can eat away most or all of your profit. Hopefully, you don't let this kind of fear consume you and destroy your chances of ever making money in real estate. To avoid this at all costs, you have to be able to know how to create and grow not just a buyer's list, but a killer buyer's list from scratch. You also must know how to specifically attract retail buyers as well as wholesale buyers. Let me break that down for you. There are fundamentally two types of buyers in the real estate market: those who buy to have a place to live, and those who buy to make a profit. Buyers looking for a home are called retail buyers or home buyers. Buyers looking for a profit are called wholesale buyers or investors. Whether your business is geared towards wholesaling, retailing, or a combination of both, it is important for you to have a grasp on the mentality and buying habits of both type of buyers. This is because if you are wholesaling, then your investor buyers will be selling to retail buyers at the end of the line. So you must understand retail buyers in order to know how investors work. And if you're selling to retail buyers, then you are an investor yourself. And it would obviously behoove you to know as much as possible about the buying habits of investors. One big difference between retail buyers and wholesale buyers are the types of properties they buy. Retail buyers are usually looking for a nice home to live in. So their candidate properties are pretty, well maintained and updated, priced near market value, and in nice looking neighborhoods. Wholesale buyers, on the other hand, want profitable investments. So they're usually looking for a property that they can acquire for below market value and improve and or rental property that is already occupied by a tenant. In this way, the types of deals you look for will be targeted to your audience of buyers. Another key difference between retail buyers and wholesale buyers is in buying frequency. Wholesale buyers are buying as part of an ongoing business venture and thus tend to buy repeatedly. And your goal, of course, is to have them buy repeatedly from you. In contrast, retail buyers typically have just one purchase to make. So they are very selective about the house they settle on and probably won't make another purchase for a long time once they have bought the home that they want to live in. This means if you are selling to wholesale buyers, you can run your business off of a relatively small, steady list of consistent buyers. But if you are trying to sell to retail buyers, then your buyers list not only needs to be bigger to compensate for the pickiness of the buyers, it also needs to be fed more to replace those who are constantly dropping off the market. Thus, for wholesaling, a tight, solid core of long-term regular buyers will carry you through, whereas for retailing, you need a broad net of buyers that are constantly being replaced. Recognizing this difference is essential to designing your marketing plan for your real estate business. Okay, I have already stressed the importance of knowing what to say and how to talk to sellers in your real estate transactions to close deals. But also equally important is knowing what to say to your buyers. That's just plain common sense. When selling real estate creatively, the sales process with your buyers will involve several different stages. And it is imperative that you know how to communicate with your buyers during each and every stage. For example, stage 1 will most likely involve you crafting a message or central theme that is designed to attract potential buyers. Once you have created your message, the next step in stage 1 would be to deliver that message through the various mediums such as classified ads, flyers, direct mail, etc., with the purpose of eliciting a response from potential buyer prospects who will be inquiring about the houses you have for sale or the special home ownership programs that you are offering, if any. So the bottom line is, you must know exactly what to say in your message to your potential buyer prospects in stage 1, because this will effectively lead to stage 2 of the sales process. In stage 2, your buyer prospects will be calling you to find out more information on the houses that you're offering for sale. In this stage, you will be answering their questions, conveying the benefits of the properties that you are offering, and pre-screening them to weed out the prospects from the suspects. Also, in this particular stage, your prospects will be posing objections to you that you must be able to provide answers to and overcome. Therefore, in stage 2, you must know exactly what to say to your buyer prospects in order to pre-screen them, convey the benefits, respond to their objections, and to answer any questions that they might have. When you have effectively communicated with your prospects in stage 2 and they are seriously interested in buying the properties that you have to offer, this will allow you to navigate to stage 3 of the sales process. Stage 3. In stage 3, you are on the verge of closing the sale. You will be hit with additional objections, and it is critical that you are prepared to answer them, because when you do answer them, it will allow you to immediately go to the close. And once you've arrived at that point, all you have to do is know what to say to your buyer to close the deal, because if you know what to say to them, it will result in you receiving a deposit, down payment, or flat out cash for the houses that you are selling. But what if you don't know what to say to buyers? Quite frankly, if you don't know what to say to your buyers, you are dead in the water, because how are you ever going to make money from real estate? How would you be able to navigate and guide buyers through the aforementioned 3 stages of the sales process? Come on, let's get serious. You wouldn't be able to. In order to succeed at any type of sales, and especially in real estate where you are asking people to part with large sums of money, you have to be totally prepared. I mean, you already know your buyers will ask questions, so shouldn't you anticipate beforehand the typical questions that they are going to ask you and have your responses ready to answer them? The same principle applies to objections. You know that they are going to come up, and most of them are typical. So shouldn't you already know beforehand how you will respond and handle those objections? You are probably wondering, how in the heck are you going to be able to know and remember beforehand all of the different questions and objections that will be posed to you and the appropriate responses for the various buyers that you will be encountering? If you have designed your real estate business to obtain maximum profits, you will be selling to retail buyers as well as wholesale buyers. Some of the questions that you would ask these 2 types of buyers in order to pre-screen them will be similar and dissimilar in nature. Same thing goes for the objections and your responses to those objections for wholesale buyers versus retail buyers. They will also be both similar and dissimilar in nature. In addition, your wholesale buyers and retail buyers will be further segmented based on what type of creative financing you are making available to them to purchase your properties. For example, you may allow your retail buyers to purchase their homes creatively through a lease purchase or owner finance situation where there is no qualifying at the bank, or you might allow them to acquire a home through some sort of work for equity program. I know that this seems like a lot to digest, but it's really not if you systemize the entire process by using a comprehensive set of scripts that enables you to know exactly what to say to your buyers to sell your houses and inventory fast. In fact, here are some of the reasons why you should have a bona fide script system in place when dealing with your buyers. Having a set of scripts will enable you to know what to say to your buyers and when to say it. By sticking to a script, you avoid being tongue-tied and losing control of the conversation as well as the negotiations with your buyers. By utilizing scripts, there should be no more mumbling, stumbling, and fumbling of your words because of practice and rehearsal. Scripts allow you to hire and train people to sell your houses for you, enabling your business to run on autopilot. By employing scripts on a consistent and continuous basis when communicating with your buyers, you will become a master closer, which will result in you making a ton of cash. So in essence, everything I discussed in this presentation deals with marketing. Because quite frankly, real estate marketing is the business. Let me say that again. Real estate marketing is the business. If your real estate business is not where you want it to be, the problem more than likely lies in your marketing. It is either non-existent, shame on you, or just plain vanilla ordinary. As a real estate investor, you must truly understand that you are in the business of marketing first and foremost. Marketing drives the business. It is the fuel that produces the leads and prospects you need to sustain and thrive in your business. Without it, you're like a car without gas. You're going nowhere. So if that's the case, you should at least be spending 85% of your time that you devote to your real estate business on marketing, since marketing is the business that you are really in. I know that you're probably thinking to yourself right now, hey, what about my real estate investing education? Shouldn't I be devoting time to it also? My answer to that is, of course you should always dedicate time to your real estate education and the furthering of it, because that will make you a more skillful and deadlier real estate investor. But the point I'm trying to get across is simply this. You may know 100 different ways to buy houses, but it doesn't mean spit if you don't have motivated sellers in front of you to apply what you know, or have motivated buyers knocking at your door to buy the inventory of properties that you've acquired. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's just common sense. In fact, I want you to always remember the following 3 principles. Principle number 1. The strength of your bottom line in your real estate business is proportional to the strength of your marketing. Period. Principle Number 2, being a marketing expert is significantly more important than being a creative real estate expert. Principle number 3, motivated sellers plus motivated buyers equals money in the bank for you.